was diagnosed last summer. And tonight, randomly, Sharon walked in. I didn't know she was going to be here. Her husband also recently passed from Alzheimer's disease. So by 2050, it's anticipated 14 million Americans will have Alzheimer's at a projected cost of $1.1 trillion in today's dollars. And you know, we understand firsthand what families all across the country are going through, the toll this is taking on them mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, and financially. And lastly, when my sister is given medication, she'll be given the same medication my husband was given in 2010, the same medication that came to market in 1996, 23 years ago. So what will you do to address this national public health crisis that's impacting all of us?
Right. So when did your husband pass away?
November 2017.
What was his name?
Ken Bouchard.
Sharon, when did yours?
October 2018.
I'm so sorry. So sorry. Look, it is a national crisis, right? So many people are being affected by it, as you know. You know, for reasons that are like understandable, we're living a lot longer, right? So this was always present among us in some form or fashion, but it didn't present itself nearly as much. And it's not only causing a lot of human pain and suffering and loss, but it's also crushing our healthcare system, right? And becoming the most expensive condition that we actually treat right now, which it is, by the way, more than cancer, more than anything. So ultimately, I think the problem of all of these things, the solution to all of these things at the end of the day, has to be based on innovation. We have to find a cure, or we have to find breakthroughs that make these conditions more manageable as a chronic condition, right? Cure, ultimate solution, but also things, medications that actually work. And as you know, probably from your treatment, these are much more complicated diseases than people think. Some of the medications work for some people and not others, et cetera. So one of the things that we have not done as a nation is actually invested in the basic research that's needed to crack the code on some of these incredibly tragic and difficult health conditions that are emerging. The good news is there's a tremendous amount of positive stuff going on, mostly driven by big data and the scientific community's ability to do much greater kind of mapping of the sources of these conditions and much deeper analytics as to the science behind them and what might be the cures or the treatments. But a lot of that's not going to happen without the federal government being an active partner in investing heavily in that basic research. Because at the end of the day, the federal government is the only group that'll ever do that. Because the commercialization cycle for this is too unpredictable and too long tail for the private sector to actually invest in it. So just like we've solved so many problems in the past, we do need the moonshot around innovation on many of these conditions. Obviously cancer, I think we need it on climate, by the way, which we're going to talk about, but we absolutely need it on Alzheimer's. And I think we can do it. Now, while we're doing that, we also have to think about the care, the situation around care with people who are suffering and their families, because it's becoming an unbearable burden. You know, 30% of our country are caregivers right now. They estimate that number's going to be 50% by 2040. In other words, half of the country will be caring for someone in one form or fashion. 95% of them are not compensated for doing it. It's a huge kind of both value add and cost to society at the same time, right? So we have to address that, and we ultimately have to invest in curing it or treating it. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Nancy Ryan, and I live in Lee, not far from